On carm.org, Matt Slick has an article that is entitled 8 Reasons for Apologetics. We will recite Matt Slick's article, 8 Reasons for Apologetics, with critical remarks to each reason. Reason number 1, according to Carm, the first and most obvious is because we are commanded to defend the faith. 1 Peter 3:15 says, "But sanctify Christ as Lord in your hearts, always being ready to make a defense to everyone who asks you to give an account for the hope that is in you, yet with gentleness and reverence." We agree with this purpose for apologetics. From Carm, reason number 2. Second, we need apologetics because it helps Christians know their faith. This is something that is sadly lacking among believers. Most don't know much about their faith, let alone be able to describe the Trinity, the physical resurrection of Christ, or even tell the difference between justification and sanctifications. Apologetics helps to define and defend what the truth of the gospel is. Well, Matt Slick, does presenting inaccurate information and poorly done apologetics help or hurt the cause of Christ? Does poorly done apologetics help or hinder Christians know their faith? The purpose of this video series is to point out inaccurate information, ill-defined terms, and anemic scholarship in Carm apologetics. And it follows that correcting inaccurate information, ill-defined terms, and anemic scholarship helps the cause of apologetics and the cause of Christ. Reason number 3, from Carm. Third, apologetics is an attempt to keep people out of hell. God takes sin very seriously, and he will punish those who have rebelled against him and are not covered in the blood of Christ. As Christians, we should be motivated to present the truth of salvation in Jesus. We should not sit idly by and ignore the dilemma of the unbeliever. We need to tell them that sin is real because God is real, and that breaking God's law has a consequence. Since all have sinned, we cannot keep God's law perfectly. Unquote. Matt Slick is a Calvinist. Calvinists like Matt Slick believe God has chosen who goes to heaven and everyone else goes to hell before the foundation of the world. How is apologetics supposed to keep anyone from hell? Additionally, Calvinists like Matt Slick believe the number of the elect is fixed according to the 1619 Canons of Dort. How can apologetics change that fixed number? Does it help the cause for Christ that Matt Slick to assert a reason for apologetics that explicitly contradicts his own theology? Is Matt Slick deliberately contradicting his theology, or is he doing it out of ignorance? From Carm again, reason number 4. Fourth, we need apologetics to counter the bad image that Christianity has received in the media and in culture. Televangelists and their scandals, both sexually and monetarily, are a disgrace to Christianity. The Catholic Church hasn't helped with its scandals involving priests. On top of that, the media is very biased against Christianity, and you will see negative opinions of Christianity promoted everywhere. Unquote. Apologetics will do nothing to counter the bad image of Christianity, especially the image created by poorly done apologetics. As been shown, Matt Slick and Carm gives us poorly done apologetics. The bad image of Christianity, especially the association of Calvinism with corrupt and decadent capitalist multinational corporate interests for nearly 400 years, will go on as long as people are involved. Apologetics will not change that. Reason number 5 from Carm. Fifth, we need apologetics because there is a constant threat of apostasy in the visible Christian church. Unquote. Matt Slick is a Calvinist. Calvinists like Matt Slick believe everything happens because God has determined it to happen according to his will. Can apologetics do anything to stop God's will? Indeed, does apologetics or any Christian activity, or lack of any Christian activity, change anything that God has not willed to be? Doesn't the very act of doing apologetics or any other Christian activity necessarily imply that it makes a difference? And isn't the very act of doing apologetics explicitly contradictory to the notion that God has ordained all things according to his will, as Calvinists like Matt Slick believe? The threat of apostasy has always been evident in Christianity. That's the context and purpose of the book of Revelations and the letter to Jude. The threats were there long before poorly done rationalist or logical apologetics, and they will be there long after their demise. And poorly done apologetics will do nothing to stem the threat of apostasy. Reason number 6 from Carm. Sixth, another reason we need apologetics is because of the many false teachings out there. We agree with this purpose. Reason number 7 from Carm. 7th, the rise of immorality in America is a threat not only to society but also to Christianity. This is a serious issue because an immoral society cannot last long. The Barna Research Group statistics show that 64% of adults and 83% of teenagers say that moral truth depends upon the situation that you are in. 19% of the adult population believe the old idea of sin is outdated. 51% believe that if a person is generally good or does enough good, he will earn a place in heaven. When society's morals fail, the society fails. Just look at history and think of ancient Rome, ancient Greece, or present-day Enron, Watergate, White House interns. Immorality seeps down into all areas of our culture. Consider this. In the New York Times Online, May 12, 2002, in the article With Games of Havoc, Men Will Be Boys, the author, Warren St. John, interviews some players of what he says are very popular video games. One young man says, "What I like to do is to get in the car and drive around and to do drive-by shootings. You can haul someone out of their car and beat them and steal their money and their car. It's kind of amusing that you have that ability." End quote. Just exactly how does apologetics change this? Was any society better than it is today? Was politics better when Christians ruled? There is no rise in immorality. It has always been there, sometimes more evident than others. It will always be there. Apologetics is a meaningless influence upon corruption and immorality. In fact, historically, whenever someone in political power feels a divine rulership or I have the truth mentality, those have been the darkest days of history. Apologetics would only compound that feeling. A purpose of apologetics is to assuage the supposed effects of violent video games or any social trend? Really? We're supposed to take that seriously? Reason number 8 from Carm. The 8th reason we need apologetics is because schools are not friendly to Christianity. My own experience in non-Christian schools was a strong awakening to the unprovoked hostility that exists in school, where the philosophy teachers, history teacher, even the art teacher all took shots at Christianity. Don Feder of the Conservative Chronicle, in his article September 2nd, 1993, titled "Fighting Censorship, PAW Does It Its Way," said that in some junior high libraries, books entitled The Joy of Gay Sex and How to Make Love to a Single Woman, there is an impressions series for grades 1 to 6 which promote the New Age and the occult, a controversial drug education program called Quest, which tells students that they alone can decide whether or not it's okay to use drugs, as well as text that directs students to fantasize about suicide, attack religion, and undermine family authority. End of quote. And how does apologetics accomplish this? Was the education any better when there were more friendliness to Christianity? Was the Dark Ages better when Christians forbade the study of math and science? It's interesting that Matt Slick brings up issues he does and ignores violent Christian groups like Westboro Baptist and God Hates Fags type groups, which is typical of Christian apologists to give a pass to folks that share common or similar theology to them. Why does he ignore the 30-year epidemic of divorce in conservative evangelical and Calvinist churches? Could his interest be for marketing and sales purposes rather than moral purposes? I am Christian, but I will not give a pass to anyone that puts themselves in the public as a teacher, apologist, or expert. Strong critical analysis needs to come from within the body of believers. Pointing out the weaknesses and failures of current apologetic methods helps the cause of Christ and causes apologetics to become stronger. Colossians 1:10, that ye may walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God. 1 Thessalonians 5:21, prove all things, hold fast to that which is good.